Well, this is it, people. Sudden death rugby. And once again, the All Black selectors have shown lots of courage, left out a couple of important players from our past, but I believe that the selection is right.
I love the look of this 23 that Steve Hansen and his selectors have picked to play Ireland in the quarterfinal at the Rugby World Cup 2019. It's a team that's got plenty of experience, and that's what you need at this stage of the competition. You need players that have played in quarterfinals, knockout games before to know what it's like playing in that intensity of either going home on Monday or going back to the training field preparing for a semi-final. So that, for me, is probably the number one ingredient in the selection of this team, along with form. And he's picked this team on form. He's picked combinations that have been using for quite a while. The Type 5 is good for me, really strong, good set-piece team. That's what we're going to need against Ireland, who have a very good set-piece team. So to be able to try and dismantle that, we need players like Retallick, Whitelock, Moody, Cody Taylor starting was interesting for me, but I love the look of the 23 in terms of what's going to come off the bench, with Sonny Bill Williams coming off the bench, Dane Coles coming off the bench, and that last sort of 30 minutes, 25 minutes, which can determine the result.
I think the team selected for the quarterfinal against Ireland is reasonably predictable. I think the Type 5 picked themselves. Cody Taylor, perhaps, is a little surprise for some people, but I think they've gone for set-piece power early in the match. And Dane Coles, of course, can come on and be a highly effective runner and passer with the ball later in the match as people tire. Brodie Retallick is clearly fit. It'll be interesting to see how long he stays on the field. We'll be looking for a really big game from Sam Cane, I think. And it's important that Sam Cane really is a presence at number 6. We need a physical presence against the Irish, and I'm sure he can do that. I think the backs again are pretty predictable, although it was interesting the midfield has been in an area where they've had opportunities to try a few players. I think moving Anton Leonard-Brown into second 5 is interesting. It means that the All Blacks want to do more from that position, meaning more running with the ball. He's got great footwork, great skill with kicks in behind and those sorts of things. So I think you're looking for skill and plenty of size at number 12, moving Anton Leonard-Brown in there. And Jack Goodhue has been sort of a little slow to come back after his injuries, but hopefully he's back to full form.
Interesting selection for me has been the rise of not Beauden Barrett, but his brother Geordie. What an amazing talent he's been so far. 15, 14, and then 10, and that has meant that he's been able to get onto the bench. Another really interesting thing for me, Sonny Bill coming off the bench as well, doing something special. Centre combination between Anton Leonard-Brown and Goodhue, really good.
Two key points of interest for me in the selection of this matchday 23 to take on the Irish in the quarterfinal is Aaron Smith at 9. I think the All Black selectors are now saying we need to play this game at real pace. We need to move this Irish team around, try and expose them with a bit of width, hence why Aaron Smith was picked over the in-form TJ Perenara. The other selection is there was no room for Ben Smith. And with that, they brought Geordie Barrett in, who I think has been quite outstanding in the last sort of 6 months of his rugby. He's really put his hand up, he's really worked on his game, and he's developed into an outstanding footballer who can play in multiple positions. But I think probably the key point here is that he can kick goals from 50 yards out, which at a World Cup knockout game may be the difference.
So the All Blacks are going to play the game with a lot of intensity at the breakdown. Quick ball is what they need. They've picked Aaron Smith to move the ball quickly, and I think moving the ball quickly and taking advantage of the few opportunities they'll get will be really important. On the other hand, I think the Irish are going to want to play from set piece to set piece. They're going to want to hold the ball up off the ground at times and drive it. They're going to play pretty close to the ruck and maul. They'll have big men running around the ruck and maul. And I think they're going to kick. And they want to play for position on the field because they've got a great goal kicker in Johnny Sexton. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a clash of styles, but both forward packs are going to go at each other hard to get some sort of ascendancy early in the game.
Ireland have fantastic defence, so they'll be wanting to have a good kicking game early, make sure they put Ireland on the back foot. Great game of rugby today. Are we the favourites? I think we are. Ireland have been very good against us in the past, beat us last November, but for me, All Blacks by 10 points. Great kicking game, great strong forward play, should be fun.
What will determine who wins this game? The team that makes the least mistakes. The type of game the All Blacks want to play is a high-pace, high-intensity game. To do that, you need to be very accurate. So, if they are accurate in everything they do, the All Blacks will win.
Well, I think the All Blacks will win. I think it's going to be tough and tight, but I think in the end they're going to win 18 points to 13.
The All Blacks, I think, will win by 23 points to 12.